bit of background to set you in your scene. So you were involved in Jordan racing, Red Bull, worked with a lot of drivers.
So I spent 15 years on the management board of 2 Formula One teams, Jordan Grand Prix, which was founded by my compatriot Eddie Jordan. I joined Eddie actually when the team was being set up in 1990, and then when I left Jordan, when the team ultimately was sold, I went to Red Bull Racing and was part of the startup management of Red Bull Racing. And I finished my executive career in Formula One running Cosworth, which is a very well-known name, of course, in the world of Formula One, and it was an interesting business to be involved in, supplying engines and technology into Formula One teams.
Okay, so obviously performance insights and getting into the keynote you've just given, where does Formula One and risk management and this industry come together?
Well, it's interesting that Firma have invited me to come and speak at this conference in Monte Carlo, because as I said to the audience today, the 3.3 kilometre Monte Carlo Formula One track is all about risk management. You've got to manage risk the whole way around this circuit, because if you make a mistake, you have an accident and you go out of the race. And I think one of the things that's fascinated me throughout my Formula One career is that when I look at what we're trying to do, which is to achieve a positive outcome, i.e. to win the race, so much of that has to do with not just performance management, but risk management. And they go hand in glove. And if you look at all of the systems, processes and technology that we have involved in Formula One today, which I think most people think it must all be about performance and speed. Actually, the foundation stone of our successes as business is how we manage risk and in the quality of the engineering that we deploy in our operations. So my keynote has been very much about Formula One's journey in terms of understanding why risk management is important. A couple of key milestones on that journey where we have seen what happens when you get a catastrophic outcome. And I'm now talking specifically about driver fatalities. And if you look at the fact that between 1950 and 1994, we had over 40 Formula One driver fatalities. And then we had a weekend when we had 2 fatalities in 1994, including the great Ayrton Senna, 3 times world champion. For the Formula One industry, that weekend became a pivotal moment for us, because we realized we had to change. We had to change our culture in terms of how we manage risk. We had to change everything around that. But I think the most important step that happened then was that a recognition from the leadership down that we couldn't keep repeating the same old mistakes. And it's led to a transformation of safety and risk management, not only in Formula One, but also in terms of providing us with learnings that we can export to other industries, such as the car industry. So that's very much been the thrust of what I've talked about today. It's been that journey and our learnings.
And in that kind of dialing of the need, performance and entertainment, and to controlling the risk, do you feel the dial's in a kind of good place now?
This is a great topic. I'm glad you asked that question, because the reality is that if you ask fans of Formula One, they'll say that it has been de-risked to too great an extent, so the dial is too far towards safety. But of course, if you talk to the individual drivers who are competing in the sport, and certainly to the teams, they'll say, well, can you ever be safe enough? And as a sport, it's our objective is our appetite for risk to the point where we're happy with some mild injuries, or you can't have a slight fatality. You're either alive or dead. So really, from our point of view and from the point of view of our regulator, yes, we want to have spectacular racing. Yes, we know we're going to have spectacular accidents. But the point is that the outcome of that spectacular racing and those spectacular accidents should not be someone suffering a life-changing injury or losing their life. And of course, by the way, everyone focuses on driver safety. If you look at the bad old days, and I talked in my presentation about having a corporate memory of where you've been in the past. If you look at the bad old days, we remember an era when spectators used to lose their lives. Cars would not only crash, but they'd crash into the crowd. And so more than just the drivers are affected, we've got a number of different stakeholder audiences potentially affected. So having been through some of those tough times, Do I feel that the dial is in the right place today? It's in a better place today than it's ever been, and how we can maintain the sporting spectacle is actually a slightly separate subject.
Just thinking about that kind of journey then from risk management racetrack to risk management boardroom, what do you take in today? If for the people that weren't there today, if there were 3-4 things that you thought they should take away?
Well, it's going to be pretty obvious when I say this, but my experience shows you've got to be earnest about it. You've got to be sincere and authentic about your approach to risk management. If it really is going to mean that much to you, are you going to put your full weight behind it from the point of view of a leadership team? Because this is not something you pay lip service to. And in the same way that IT is no longer a department at the end of the corridor, risk management shouldn't be a department that someone looks after. It's got to be a cultural thing across the whole organisation. And the leadership has a responsibility to be authentic in the way that is outlined. The second thing is you need to make sure that in whatever activity you're engaged in, that your approach to risk management is communicated effectively across the whole organisation so that there's complete alignment. You don't want islands of excellence and oceans of mediocrity. You've got to have everyone fully aligned behind what it is that you're trying to achieve. The third thing from Formula One is that technology is our friend. And we have seen technology play a key role in helping us on our risk management journey, particularly around data, the use of data and information technology, and being able to extrapolate from that data something useful to help us with the quality of our decision making, and ultimately to help us with the quality of our outcome. So I think really if you can get that authentic leadership, that alignment, and embrace the technological opportunity, it's amazing what you can achieve in improving your risk management profile.
Oh, great, thank you. Well, thank you for taking the time out to speak to us.
My pleasure.